All right, a lot more to come. Catherine Faulders, thank you so much. And for more legal analysis on the Manhattan indictment of former President Donald Trump, let's bring in our legal contributors and also our law professor at American University, Kim Whaley, along with trial attorney and former federal prosecutor, Neama Rahmani. Thank you both for being here. Neama, Trump's lawyers say he will not accept a plea deal in this indictment, but does plan to file substantial legal challenges. That was the quote. So what kind of legal challenges could we be talking about here, and what does Trump's team actually need to prove?
Well, I fully expect Trump to plead not guilty. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg can't offer him any type of meaningful deal, nor would Trump accept any type of deal. I think the challenge is going to be along the lines of what we've discussed. Under New York law, of course, it's just a misdemeanor to file those false business records. For it to be a felony, it has to be in furtherance or to cover up some other crime. I mean, we know that the DA intends or likely intends to argue that that $130,000 hush money payment to Stormy Daniels was an illegal campaign contribution. Trump's lawyers will probably file motions and say that as a matter of law, it does not qualify as a campaign contribution. It was a personal issue, a family matter, to try to keep that affair private. And that's, I think, going to be the first substantive legal filing in this case.
Kim, and earlier on Good Morning America, one of Trump's attorneys talked about the indictment, saying that the legal team surrounding Trump is prepared to fight this. Let's listen.
In my 32 years as a lawyer, both as a prosecutor and defense attorney, I feel like the rule of law died yesterday in this country, and it's not something that I'm happy about.
So what should we all expect next week?
George, you know, it's a great question. This is unprecedented in this country's history. I don't know what to expect other than an arraignment, you know.
And what will that look like?
Through that normal process. Your guess is as good as mine. I understand they're going to be closing off blocks around the courthouse, shutting down the courthouse. You know, we'll go in there and we'll proceed to see a judge at some point, plead not guilty, start talking about filing motions, which we will do immediately, and very aggressively regarding the legal viability of this case.
So Kimmy says the rule of law basically died here. Is there truth to that, or did the law do exactly what it was designed to do?
Well, of course, as you've been emphasizing, we don't know what is in the indictment until we actually read it. So the speculation that it's insufficient is just speculation. I think that's really important to underscore. The argument that this is unprecedented in American history is true, but Donald Trump himself was an unprecedented president in American history. 2 impeachments, a special counsel investigation that found that, you know, his campaign communicated with the Russians in the lead up to the election, 11 counts of obstruction of justice, 5 now criminal investigations, countless civil investigations. You know, he has pushed the rule of law to the brink. And whether this is the proper mechanism for shoring up accountability in the White House, we won't know until we read it. And ultimately, history will have to tell that. And it's a dark day for American democracy, but it's not the fault of the grand jury. And that's the action that we're critiquing in this moment. And, you know, let's underscore, as the other guests indicated, there's going to be a lot of due process for Donald Trump. Good lawyers, he has money, unlike a lot of people in the criminal justice system, where poverty and structural racism keep them from having their day in court effectively. Donald Trump will get his fair due, and I think that's a good thing that our justice system is going to afford that, because the stakes are so high in this moment.
Sure, historically, for sure. Neama, Trump is calling on allies, of course, to publicly defend him. We know he has a strong influence on the GOP and on voters. How may prosecutors be treating this influence?
Well, this is the most politically charged prosecution in American history, and we're really seeing where law and politics intersect here. Of course, you know, Trump's base, many of them will support the former president no matter what, even if he's convicted. But you're seeing Republicans on Capitol Hill, both in the House and the Senate, they're rallying around the former president with few exceptions. So they're going to dig their heels in, and their talking points will be that this is a politically charged prosecution. This is a witch hunt. This is unfair. And I think that's going to resonate with a lot of Republican voters. And it's going to be interesting to see what effect, if any, it's going to have on the 2024 presidential race, because we know it's not going to have any legal effect, because even if he is convicted of a felony, it's not a disqualification type offense, so he can still run for office.
I mean, bottom line, Kim, this is what it comes down to. No matter what message is sent or what happens here, he can still run for president of the United States. I mean, let's just process that for a moment.
Right. Kira, the only thing in the Constitution has to do with birth, citizenship, and age. Beyond that, he could literally run the country from a jail cell in theory. And, what's important to also underscore is regular routine federal employees have to have background checks. Presidential candidates do not. It is the hurly-burly of the political process that is supposed to get information like affairs to the public so that they can vote on it. No, he's not the first politician who's had an affair, and that's problematic. And we don't want to see people prosecuted for having affairs. But this is important to keep in mind that this is about having good information moving forward in elections. We'll just have to see if Alvin Bragg's team can prove that that's what Donald Trump did here and falsified something in order to get a leg up in an election and not for some personal reason. It's a very nuanced, difficult case to actually win, I think.
Kim, I'm just trying to process Donald Trump running the country as president from a jail cell. I'm just really trying to visualize and process what you just said. Our conversation will continue. Kim Whaley, Neama Rahmani, thank you both very much.